Man, I'm good, man. I'd have been through so many managers, dog.
What's been going on, man? Hey, hold on
Hey,
for one
man.
second. Give me one second, man.
Yeah.
1 second.
Andre, this one gonna hit you, boy. You gotta hold on to your nuts on this one.
This all piano?
No.
Yeah. Mama, are you proud? Mama, are you proud of
This one
me?
always
Yes,
touched me deep,
proud
boy.
of me. Yes, are you proud of me? Tell me, is you proud of me? Mama, are you proud of me? Daddy, are you proud of me? Is you proud? Are you proud? Tell me, is you proud? Baby, are you proud of me?
Get your shit together, Dre.
Look what your son became. Long time coming out, flying on private planes. Yeah. Love you, granny, I've been missing you like yesterday. Wanna be legendary, there's a price to pay. I wish that you was here a lot more. I was hurting back then, I ain't hurting no more. In childhood, I was lost and I was angry. Just a reflection on my daddy, you can't blame me. Plenty of years, yeah, I felt I wasn't worthy. Put the pain inside the music, now I'm famous. Keep in mind, I never wanted to be famous. Don't let your mind get the best of you, that's dangerous. Still going, cause I want a lot more. Wipe your eye, what you crying for? Yeah. Wipe your eye, what you crying for? Shit ain't been the same these days. I've been watching my back, cause these niggas want war. Yeah. 1,000 bitches on tour. Screaming my name, wanna swim in my pain, but my heart so sore. Wrote a eye up and out my mind in the clouds. Yo, missing out Sharon, can you send down a few smiles? Missing Demi Rose, can you send down a few smiles? Missing Granddaddy, can you send down a few smiles? Oh, I know a lot of niggas doubted me. I just got one question, is you proud of me? Yeah, I did it. Mama, are you proud? Your son did it. Mama, are you proud of me? Daddy, are you proud of me? Proud, yeah. Yes, are you proud of me? Tell me, is you proud of me? That's all I want. Mama, are you proud of me? Daddy, are you proud of me? Are you proud? Tell me, is you proud? Baby, are you proud of me? Look what y'all create. Yo.
I say to our ancestors.
Yeah, I like that. That's all right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Dog, go. My
yeah.
dog just want to fuck with me.
Peace to the family, man. How y'all doing today, man? Welcome to Sankofa 180 degrees, man. We back at y'all again on this nice Sunday afternoon. How y'all doing, fam? How's everybody?
What it do? What it do? What it do?
Yeah. Peace, Dre. Peace, Peace to you, Gerald. Peace to you, Queen Carrie. How's everybody doing, man? Hey, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there. Uh uh the mothers that's handling their business, man. Salute to you. My hats off to you. Um, it's your day, man. And I mean, Mother's Day should be every day, but I mean, this particular day, Happy Mother's Day, fam. All the mothers. Uh, uh, uh. Don't forget, real quick. I just wanted to just say, man, don't forget, man. We got first Sunday every month. We got the children's book read, man. That's doing, doing pretty good. Uh, we got it's going down, man. Just all you gotta do is just join. You get a free book. We mail it to you, man, free of charge. We got some really good books, man, about knowing ourselves, knowing our history, who they are, where they come from, man. Some really, really good stories, really, really good books, man. Check them out. It's really important, man, that we keep our history, fam. We got to do that, man. We got to keep our history alive, right? They're trying to change it, rewrite it right in our face. We can't have that. All right. So I'm just saying, real quick, join us. Um, and get the babies out, man, and let them listen to some of these good stories, and possibly get them a free book. You know what I mean? But anyway, peace to you, Queen Carrie. What's going on, man? You want to say hi to everybody?
Hey Kings, hey Andre. Good to see all of you, and looking forward to this presentation. And that song kind of gets me every time I hear it. But anyway, have a good day, and I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad you guys are here for real.
Nice. And
They
Dre,
play that
peace,
song on purpose.
peace. Well, I mean, that's my brother's my brother that's my brother found that, man. Your brother, our brother, he found that. That's his music. Yeah, I got that from him. See? Yeah, yeah, and I played it, yeah, because this is his show. Yeah. Yeah, but peace. No, no, unmute yourself, Dre. Unmute yourself. Say it
Oh,
again.
he got the reaction he wanted, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Almost. I ain't seen no tears yet. I seen that face you made though. Nigga nut, but a boy's nuts got all tight real quick. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad you inside, not outside.
yeah, buddy. Shit, I've been in for a minute though. I'm good. I'm about to go visit the girls for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gerald, peace to you, King. Tell him what's going on, man.
What you do? How y'all doing? Happy Mother's Day to you, Carrie. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there, past, present, and future mothers. We appreciate your sacrifice. And nothing like a mother's love. I don't have mine on my grandmother with me this year, so it's just hard. But like I said, keep moving on. For those that do have their parents, even have somebody with them, cherish their time with them. Cherish their time. But again, happy to be here with the panel again. Sankofa, dealing with knowledge of self, as was said earlier, dealing with our history, and ready to get some good information. Like fire back love.
Right, that's right, man. And hold on, Dre, you ain't get to say nothing, man. Tell them who you are, man. What's going on?
My name Andre.
That's it. That's right. That's
My
our
big
brother
brother.
Dre, man. That's
I just
right.
like to listen, y'all. I just like to listen.
That's right. All right. Hey, and then y'all know who this dude is. Hey, man. Hey, no, hey, don't need no introduction, man. It's my brother, man. Go ahead, man. This is going down.
Yeah, man. Gerald, big ups to you in your formation, man. All that boots on the ground work you do, man. And Jamie, thank you for always running the channel for us, man, and the commitment that you make, man, for that. Just want to big up the first Sunday's children's book read. Every first Sunday of the month is we dedicate that week to the children. We have a book read. We give out we do a raffle afterwards, and we send a book with it's a real good book, colorful book with real people, real events, real locations. And so we just always want to advance that. So and then big ups to the village that raised us, the women in the village that raised us. Just want to respect all that, and I say to all the ancestors. So we're gonna get down today, man, with Dr. Charles Finch, he's going to do a little short presentation. I like what he has to offer. I'm not going to elaborate on that much. He's going to do the work itself. And then we'll stop before he introduces Dr. Henry Clark, master teacher, very well respected, highly respected, and say to them. And he's going to talk about, the nations, the communities, the culture, and family. He's going to talk about how important Imhotep was to the first three dynasties, and he's going to set it off with a few real gems, man. So for the audience that may be watching this later on, I encourage you to get a book and a notepad. Hold on one second. I always got mine available, and so, my picture in the back is so as above, so below. And you get into your history and the schematic culture and schematic thought, and you get a better understanding of what that really means and what it means to you. So, I'm excited about this video, man, myself, man. It touched a lot of, emotional parts, and it reminded me of a lot of stuff that the uncle on the panel here have, shared with me. And I did a lot of research. I encourage people to do research. Don't take our word for granted. You can take it for what it is, but encourage you to do some more research and come on back and share what you got or what you come up with. And so let's just jump this off, man. Anybody else want to say anything before we get started?
I do. I'm glad I called you Andre instead of Dre.
Your mic is off, Dre. You got to turn your mic on, Dre.
Okay, I did it.
You got it.
I'm sitting up here pushing buttons and stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm pushing buttons and I don't know what the heck happened, though.
Yeah,
But when I introduce myself, I use my full name. But everybody who know me, only those who know me call me Dre.
I only give your full name to privileged people.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all good. I don't care.
yeah. So let's go on and jump this off, man. It's about an hour and 27-minute video. We're gonna stop at like I said, we're gonna stop before Charles Finch introduces Dr. John Henrik Clark. I'd like to encourage people to get John Henrik Clark's name correct too. It's not John Henry Clark, it's John Henrik Clark. Henrik with a K on the end.
Yep, right? Henrik.
Yeah, he deserves all that. So let's jump this up.
And don't forget the E at the end of Clark.
Correct. At any time that you want to, anybody wants to elaborate on anything spoken, presented, just you already know what to do. So some of the etiquette for Zoom is, there's in the chat you can put up a hand to raise your hand, but we can just speak out here, so it's all good.
Why are we going to mess with nothing there? Just tell me how.
You about ready?
Mute your mic, Dre.
Oh, shit.
Today, we'll be here at the Slave Theater on Women's History Month, and we certainly want you to come out to honor our queens during that particular month at the Slave Theater. And so now we are extremely fortunate to have a giant among giants, and then to have a growing giant who is studying at the feet of the tallest tree in the forest. We certainly thank Dr. Charles Finch today, who came to us a few weeks ago and electrified us with a tremendous presentation. But we are most honored that he would come back this evening to speak to us briefly and then to introduce a man that we all admire, and certainly a man who has given him great inspiration, and that's Dr. John Henry Clark. At this particular time, we want everybody to rise on their feet, and let's give Dr. Charles Finch and then Dr. John Henry Clark a rousing ovation. Dr. Charles Finch, round of applause. Dr. Charles Finch, all the way from Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. He has already been properly introduced. And the next voice that you will hear over these microphones is my good friend and great brother, Dr. Charles Finch.
It is always a relief to come home.
All right.
Now, that might sound like an odd thing to say, but home is where the spirit is. Right. And as I get older, I seem to be more and more preoccupied with the spirit that is Africa. Because I like to say that Africa is not just a geographical expression. Africa is not just a people. Africa is not just a state of mind, although it is all those things. Africa is our animating spirit, and it's indeed the animating spirit of the world. Even the continents were born from Africa. Right. Humanity, of course, itself was a child of Africa. What we call civilization is just one of Africa's latest products. And I think that our collective task is the rebuilding of that civilization. Because the civilization can never be the product or the image of one man or woman, no matter how blessed with genius they may be. Civilization can only be the result of the collective spirit of a people. Right. In fact, 4 or 5 years ago, I even had someone said, they knew that I was a physician. They knew that I had spent a lot of time reading and writing about African science, the empirical foundations of African scholarship, African intellect. And they said, but Dr. Finch, you seem to be more and more preoccupied with spiritual matters than I ever knew you to be. And I says, well, yes, you are very perceptive. Absolutely. Because you see, that is where it begins and ends for all of us. Right. That indeed, to the extent that people of African descent have a major problem, it is indeed a spiritual problem. And until that spiritual problem is taken care of, anything else we do is futile. Now, one of the consequences, you might say, of my first, but by no means last, sojourn here among you in November was that we began to discuss, in some sense, the other dimensions that engulf of the universe. What we call modern physics only recognizes 4 dimensions: length, width, height, and time. But modern physics is now coming up against a brick wall of their own making, because they are finding that to get beyond those 4 dimensions, and by the way, those 4 dimensions are limited by the physical constant we know as light speed, but to get beyond them, there is only one way to go, and that is through consciousness, because the 5th dimension is consciousness or mind. And that with consciousness or mind, you encompass all the other 4 dimensions, and you transcend light speed. And it is therefore possible, really, as African adepts have known for time immemorial and have practiced for time immemorial, to in fact be 2 places at once. to see eternity in a second and the universe in a grain of sand through the medium of the mind, through the medium of the conscious, literally to go to the farthest ends of the universe. And there are those who do that, who encompass the universe, because if the universe is in fact mind, it is accessible to mind. And we find in ancient Kemet that what? The universe comes into being through the agency of the mind of the creator, who gives the creative word out of that mind, and his name is Jehudi, or thought. The Dogon say that the universe is a thought in the mind of Amma, the creator. So we see that even in the profoundest of African philosophies, this idea that the universe is mind is at the very heart of their thinking. So modern physics is a latecomer to an essential truth that African adepts and sages have known from the beginning of humanity itself. And the word is there for anybody to see, read, hear, and understand. So in a sense, modern physics has been chasing its tail. It was always there, always at our fingertips. In the universe we know as the mind, or as Ivan Van Sertima would say, as another way of looking at this issue, is that what happened 10 minutes ago or 10,000 years ago occupies the same space in this domain we call the mind. That means there are African adepts who can get to a place of timelessness, who can indeed move in more than one direction of time. And finally, physics has recognized that time moves in both directions. That time does not move in a single direction, which we call the arrow of time. So it is possible with these innate God-giving abilities that were honed to their highest refinement by the ancient adepts and the traditional adepts, some of whom are still existing today, to transcend time. To, as I like to say, predict the past and remember the future. Right? Because modern physics is also coming finally to the ancient African idea that, in some sense, the future impacts the present, and the present impacts the past. What the past is determined by what is happening right now, actually. So time doesn't move in a single length like this. It moves in what? A circle. Because everything moves in circles. And again, all you have to do is read the thought and philosophy of ancient Kemet and the Dogon to understand this basic truism. These are the kinds of issues and questions that have been occupying my time and my attention. I have, as I have indicated to some, been adopted by two groups of traditional healers in Senegal. Slowly but surely, they are vetting me. You know what that means? That they are testing me. They don't just because they adopted me, they just don't give it up, you know. Just because I'm a nice fella, maybe. Just because I have a nice smile, maybe. I am watched, observed, and tested, not over hours, days, or weeks, but over years. And only at such time am I given a little tidbit, and then only just enough to find out the rest of it for myself, because the only true education is self-education. Your teachers and sages and spirit guides are not supposed to hand it to you and force feed it to you like a child getting pablum or milk from a bottle. They are merely supposed to stimulate you so that you can go and find it for yourself, because then what you learn, what you acquire, descends from the brain consciousness to the heart consciousness. And when it is there, it is possible to transform yourself into a God. One of these, and this idea of God consciousness, of God presence that exists in all of us, the divine spark, again, is an ancient idea that is hoary with age in the African frame of things. So this is why, in order for me to embark on new levels of the path, I have to go to Africa to do that. At least I find that that's the way it happens for me. Just being on that soil, just being there, just soaking it up. And I don't ask questions. You will never hear me ask a question in Africa. That is not the way you get information. And it is Africa and Africa alone that I have learned what patience really means. Because with patience, time becomes not only your ally, work becomes your servant. You have to know how to wait. It is not a passive waiting. It is an expectant waiting, an active waiting, a positive patience, so that when the window of opportunity opens, you walk right through it and transform your life. Africa taught me that. So there is something that is ennobling, something that is transformational just being on African soil, just absorbing those energies. My adopted mother, Mom Fatou Sek, 93 years old, a healer for 70 years, has performed 15,000 healings without one single failure. When I met her in 1986 in my own house, interestingly enough, not in Senegal, it was the first time I had ever felt the power of someone's aura. As I tell people, careful about coming into Mom Fatou Sek's presence, because there are no secrets from her. You do not even have to open your mouth. You can keep yourself as closed off as you think you are, and she can read you like a book. This is the power and presence of ancient Africa living through her. The problem is she is 93. Her mind is as clear as crystal glass, is as limpid as a pristine pool, is as sharp as a diamond, but her body is frail. We are told that this may be her last calendar year on earth before she is called home. But what is her last will and testament? She has charged me as her adopted son with the responsibility of bringing her and all of her priestesses, drummers, ritualists, interpreters for a healing ceremony, 8-day healing ceremony on U.S. soil in St. Helena Island in South Carolina, August 11th through 19th. We all know about African-derived religions here. Santeria, Candomblé, Vodou, Shango Baptist, even Root Doctrine. But this will be the first time in the entire history of the Americas that an authentic, active, current, living African healing ceremony will be brought intact to the United States for the specific purpose of establishing the African spiritual presence here, so that Africa's lost children will have direct access to the spiritual powers that will lead them into the new age. It is open to the public. We have a group of Native Americans who are coming to pay homage to Mom Sek to this, because they see that we see the new age coming. And this will be the first. This will be her fourth visit to the United States, and most likely her last. Open to the public, free of charge. The only thing required is yourself and your spirit. Not only for her, for yourself, but for those yet to come. Penn Center, St. Helena Island, South Carolina, August 11th through 19th. Please see Minister Clemson Brown for details. Please see Mr. Bill Jones, First World Alliance, for details. Yvonne Milliner for details. In African tradition, the most sacred of individuals are the newborn and the elderly. Why? Because they are closest to the ancestors, and by definition are the wisest among us. We cannot make any headway without the guidance and the wisdom and the experience of our elders. We are here because they came before us. I first met Dr. John Henry Clark in 1982 in Raleigh, North Carolina. He defined the word erudition for me. And you know what erudition means? It just means limitless knowledge. I don't think I had ever then or since met a man who knew so much. But I have met people who have accumulated facts and information. What set Professor John Henry Clark apart was the sharp, decisive, penetrating analysis, interpretations, explanations he gave for historical phenomena, unlike anybody I've ever known before or since. He is an institution. He is an icon. He is an elder. He is a living ancestor. His wisdom, his experience, his knowledge, his intellect is the fire that warms us. If he were in Africa, he would almost be worshipped because the ancestors speak through him and he speaks for them to us. My mother, who is 81 years old, has always told her children, don't give me my flowers when I'm dead. There's nothing that I can do with it. You give me everything that is coming to me while I'm living. And this is what we do. Is that not true? We take our cultural heroes and we do not give them their proper due, the love that they have earned until they have passed on. It's all backwards. If we are going to engage, and I'm going to give you these numbers, a 500-year process of reconstruction, because brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, and children, sons and daughters, that's what it's going to take. And be ready for the task. Be ready to work for something that you will not see the fruit of until after your life is past. And therefore, you can continue the work of John Henry Clark. You have a responsibility for continuing the work of John Henry Clark. You will be held accountable if you do not continue the work and build on the legacy of John Henry Clark. So, he is among us now. Let us touch him. Let us listen. Let us absorb. Let us be transformed by his sacred words. Professor John Henry Clark.
Thank you. Big ups to Dr. Charles Finch. Anybody want to comment on any of that?
Hey, I sure wish I wish I could have caught that joint that they was doing in what was that, South Carolina?
Right.
Man,
Right.
I wish I could have caught that, man. Man.
Right.
Ooh, I'd have
Right.
been right there on point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough right there, man. I was so, man, I wish they'd do that again.
Yeah, man. A couple of things that stood out to me was, patience, becomes your servant instead of, a stressor or I was just sharing that with that chiropractor today, man, about, appreciating patience, and how much more work there is to be done, to attain, just sharing that with them. The other thing I wrote down was, erudition, limited knowledge, and to give people their flowers, while they're living, so, big ups to you guys, man, first and foremost right here, right now, big ups to you, man. Much respect, much love, and I appreciate the commitment and the building up of this cat, so I'll say.
So, Ken,
Charles Fritz is a real good scholar here. Wrote a book, Echoes of the Old Darkland. And I say back in the day, these was must read type of books. You had to have Echoes of the Old Darkland,
Now say that again. Echoes of what?
Echoes of the Old Darkland.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to hear him and see him right there just made me feel good. And just like you say, how he's telling everybody right now to enjoy John Henry Clark while he's still alive. Y'all got him right here. Let's enjoy him. And as I said, them events he was saying that when the sister was come dealing with the healing and whatnot, that was free of charge. All he said you had to do is bring the spirit, It's like the next people that came up, they just more started capitalizing off of it, so they charged for everything. But back in the day, everything is, they wanted you to get it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Now it's almost you gotta
commercialized it now.
Yeah. You gotta have your game tight. Your bag better be tight to go mess with some of this stuff because they'll charge the shit out of you now. Yeah. Go spend some weekend with somebody, you better have over $400. Goddamn. Maybe more than that. So, but like I said, good to hear and really listen to Dr. John Henry Clark. Black Power, Black Love.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Dr. John Henry Clark going to address some of the things that you guys were talking about earlier that I caught, and he's going to address that charging right there, right? And a few other things. So, Carrie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. You guys have shared kind of what I like too. I would have loved to have gone to that gathering in South Carolina myself, and that it was just free of charge. Just bring your spirit. I don't see that happening today in these times, and to give people their flowers while they're here, and that newborns and elders are closer to the ancestors, and makes me want to go to Africa and put my feet on the ground and feel the energy and the history. And I don't know, I was moved by the whole thing. So thank you.
That's right. We all need to go. We just need to go ahead and move to Africa. Get on out the way, man, because it look like look like it's gonna get bad out here, boy. when old boy come back. But yeah, go ahead, man. My bad.
Right, right. Hey, man, I really dig physics too, man. So, I like to Aeneas mention and the same efforts, the same thoughts and considerations and feelings and stuff like that occupy the same space in mind as other things do. So, he was specific on his, but I really like that type of stuff, man. So. Y'all ready to jump on? Hey, Jamie, you sure you don't? Hey, don't go away yet.
I'm still here.
I know you there. I know you. Hey, you sure you don't want to? You sure you don't want to elaborate on that?
No, I don't want to elaborate on that. No, I don't want to do that. No.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. All right.
No. Cool, man. Shit.
Well, I really think you do, but you just ain't.
Yeah, I ain't gonna do it right now. I ain't gonna do it.
Right.
We wait till after the show.
All right, man. All right, let's do John Henry Clark, man.
Okay.
And then again, at any time, man, you guys want to share anything, just speak up.
Okay.
John Henry Clark.
Ashe.
All day.
Master teacher.
Okay. All right. Dr. John Henry Clark. Let's give it up in a loud voice. We can do it. Dr. John Henry Clark.
Hey, you see he squatted up too, right? He walking through with his squad.
Ain't no question. Yeah, he got Damn right. They gonna watch over him.
Right,
That's a walking library right there.
right, no doubt, no
That's a
doubt.
walking library in itself, right there. He got more. He got more books than a library.
Yeah, they said, they call him an institute.
Yeah, they got more. He got more books than him than a library, King.
Right,
Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm tripping. Go ahead. I'm tripping.
right, right.
He could have been anywhere tonight, but he chose to be with us. Dr. John Henry Clark.
Hey man, I'm really intrigued by Dr. John Henry Clark's expressions, right? So, you might gonna catch some of that. I just love that stuff, man. So here we go.
We love you, Dr. Clark. We love you, Dr. John Henry Clark. The next voice that you will hear will be the eminent Dr. John Henry Clark.
Automatic, praise hand.
Say that.
Automatics was the one that was pumping him up.
Ultramatics?
Automatics, yeah.
Automatics.
Yeah, he was a lawyer. Got in trouble. And dudes, that was wild, man.
Right. Right. You bigging them up, huh?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
No, I don't mean to stop. I'm just saying.
Yeah, man. That's a good drop though, man. No doubt.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen your facial expressions while you was explaining that.
I'm just saying, Automatics is just the hype man for any of them, boy. They used to get mad at him because he used to talk too long. They used to be telling him, really on the speaker, Automatics be on there grandstanding, goddamn. Did Especially if he had somebody big like that behind him. That's what I'm laughing at, because yeah, Dr. John his hands, that Automatics was showing out.
Right.
God damn.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Remember that other day we was talking about tap, that's it right there, transatlantic, or I forget what they call it, but that's the tap video. If you got a tap video, you knew you was getting a scholar. That tap video on it right there let you know that you had a masterpiece. And this was before YouTube came out. Before YouTube, it wasn't, you had to know somebody to get these here. You had to know somebody in New York, or had to been traveled up there and get a video. That's how you got access to the scholars.
Right.
Yeah. Then when YouTube came out, people started putting it out.
Yeah,
And
because
then at one time,
New York is the mecca for
right.
that information, man.
Well, I remember one time I told y'all the scholars used to come to New York, right?
Right.
And they'd be talking, and there would be students in the audience who was in college. And then they would go back to college and ask their professors why they weren't teaching them this and beat them up with information.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are Aztec colonies, African classical civilization. There was a bunch of them with Dr. Jacob Carruthers and Clark and Beard. They was teaching about African classical civilization. And that's when they bumped heads with the whites. Some of the debates you see with that, all this was because they was, and when they got that information, they've been pumped, just like we trying to do in 2020. They were saying, hey, we don't know this. I got to teach our people the information. This been going on.
Yeah. Good information, man.
I appreciate being here, and I wish I had a cheerful message. but we are at the crossroads of our existence as a people, and we have never been in more danger than we're in right now. We're in danger because we have not understood a basic thing, the structure of the community and the family. And we have dwelled among and catered to and worshiped foreigners, fakers, and fools. And we have forgotten our own sense of the family and the community. We're meeting at a time when we are memorializing the 31st year of the passing of Malcolm X, and we still did not understand him and did not really meet him.
I say,
Because if we understood what he was about, you would understand what that charade in Africa and Asia is about. If you have read a newspaper here, published here in Brooklyn called The Liberator, that article, that appraisal of that needless journey and a waste of our money is appraised. It is very often, very seldom, that I read an article and agree with every word of it. If you want to know what I think, read the article. I will devote no time to this masquerade tonight. This massive waste of time and money, this great international show that will lead you no place except to another collection play and make the players richer while they look down their nose at you. Now, our sense of community, it was lost when we came in touch with people who had no sense of community because they did not come out of a community comparable in its organization that we did. And we lost that community when we began to imitate them. We lost a concept of the community as nation. Something called nation is a container. It's a container for your aspirations, a container for your hopes, a container for your past, an influence on your present, and a prophecy to your future. And when you lose this container called nation, you lose the frame of mind that goes into the making of a nation. And once you understand nation, nation is portable. You can take it wherever you go. Now, if you understand the Italian is on the face of the earth, he will answer to the word Italian. Your great mistake is you should not only lost the concept of nation, you've lost the nation frame of mind. You open a store in Chinatown, you wouldn't get one customer. Then why are aliens running the store in your neighborhood? And if you ask to run the stores in your neighborhood, you are called racist. Why are you called racist for doing for yourself what everybody else have had the common sense to do for themselves? This is where you have misunderstood the concept of nation, because the concept of nations is the concept of responsibility. Now, what kind of nation did your enemies come out of? All the years when they had not emerged from the ice, had not built a nation at all. And now with all of the attack on African people, and they're bringing now pseudo black white people, dark-skinned Caucasian. Oh, the Egyptian was in Africa, all right, but he's a dark-skinned Caucasian. The Ethiopian was in Africa, but then he's a dark-skinned Caucasian. Why have both blacks and whites neglected the vast body of literature, of radical literature that white people wrote about the danger of white people on this earth? We don't want to destroy any people. That's not part of our culture, to destroy people. We have dwelled among the people of the world. And if you read all the information on Africans in Asia, Africans in America, how is it that we had the common humanity to dwell among the people of the world, to scatter ourselves through our curiosity throughout the world, and there is not one hint of a wall between us and the people that we visited? We have already proved that we can maintain an African nation and participate in a universal nation. The time to call for this is the time that we need to remember Malcolm X, because we are still misinterpreting him. We are still missing his mission, and we're still missing his call for the restructure of the African nation throughout the world. He went beyond Pan-Africanism to a holistic approach for African people throughout the world. He did not call for you to dismantle your society, but he called for you to deal with the people who destroyed the society and your sense of nation. I have written a book called Who Betrayed the African World Revolution and Other Speeches. There have been so much betrayal since I wrote the book, and so many betray us. Now I must write the book all over again. I must make a deeper assessment of the civil rights movement when we began to dismantle the institutions in the Black community and run toward everything white. When we got into the NACP syndrome and that bag of worms called integration that we should have never asked for.
That's what you're talking about, Jamie.
What's that? What's that?
We should have never integrated.
Well, I'm just saying, if you go, listen, the thing is, and Gerald said this, you can't get mad at, they school system. You wanted to join in. You the one wanted to join in and wanted to integrate the schools, right? So,
I think that's the part you said.
yeah. Yeah, no, Gerald, no, that Gerald said it first though.
Okay.
Gerald said it first. Gerald said that first. He said you can't get mad at that. Because
Right.
that's their system.
Right.
Right. Yeah, Gerald said that first. I got that from him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Got you.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's what we was trying to do was trying to get equal rights.
Right.
Let's look at that first. It was equal rights that we was trying to say. We were saying we human just like y'all. All the benefits belong to us just like y'all. The way that they won was through the educational system. Okay, when in 1954, Brown versus Board of Education, that's how they won. How they won was a dog test that I don't know if y'all ever seen. It's a dog test where they ask them children, which one am I?
Right.
And then which one is the bad one? They all pick that dark one as the bad one. Which one? And so when they were showing them children having that identity crisis way back then, the judge say that was enough to say we got to break up this integrate. We got to. They all got to be schooled together. That became the law. When they even did that, that's what caused the break to the suburbs. White people actually used to live in the cities. Cities was where the jobs was at, close to downtown and all that. Once that integration thing, white people moved out of the cities into what they call the suburbs. They moved out. The whole concept about what Dr. John Henry Clark is saying, and even when Malcolm X was saying, Malcolm X was all that there. We don't want to integrate with y'all. We don't want to move with y'all. We want our own. Just give us our own. Give us our own land. We do not want to move with y'all. His whole thing. So it's a mindset. The mindset when we became able to live where we want to live, we always thought that white was better. So our people left. White people ran away from us, and then our own people ran away from us because of our mind state.
Right.
Yeah, that's what the whole big thing. And we didn't. The Marcus Garvey thing was to build your own. We did that only when we had to. When they didn't allow us to do that, we had to. We had a lot of black stuff. We had a bunch of black businesses when we had to have them, if that makes sense. But when it was allowed for us to be what we want to be, it stopped doing that. You know, right. When everybody else will have their own Chinese part of the neighborhood of a city or whatever, change the down here, they'll change the street signs to their language, you know, in Chinatown. They that strong. Wherever, look, Vietnam town or whatever it is, they that strong. You know? Right. Yeah. But that's my little spiel on it.
Yeah, but what I was talking about was I was just saying that because what they're teaching in the schools now, right, is they're not allowed to teach Black African history. And they went so far as to make it a law down here in Florida. So you go to jail if you caught teaching other than what other outside that curriculum, right? And but you still can get you can still get Jewish history, uh German history, you can get that history, but you can't get no no African history. And they're not going to so they banned so the thing was, no, you can't get mad about what they teach in their schools, because he right, because we had our own schools. We had our own schools. They wasn't the best, but we had our schools. You know what I'm saying? But they wanted it. So yeah, you can't cry about them teaching or not teaching Black African history. That's they school, man. That's theirs. So yeah, you're right. So that's why I guess we gotta do it.
Yeah, so he gonna elaborate on what you both were talking about. So you get to hear that. You'll get to hear the rerun of what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good though. So we study up.
For desegregation and justice, we could integrate on our own terms or not integrate at all. You do not integrate institutions that hold you together culturally and spiritually. You can welcome people into your institution, but you do not change the rules to suit them. So we're not talking about
but other people are already doing. One of the main reasons why they guard their institutions because they fear the security of their institution, and yet they tell you to be like me is to be civilized when he is not civil. The relationship of the European to the non-European world is a protracted act of aggression. Then why then there are so many of us brainwashed to the point where we think that to rise to respectability in the world is to be like them? When you look at their attack on our institutions, our frame of mind, our concept of the family, our language, our clothes, our tradition, is that they fear these traditions that they have observed because we built nations and had no word for jail because no one had ever gone to one. We never heard of the word sociology. Sociology was invented to take care of defects in their society. A jail was invented to take care of a defect in their society. A jail. And because that society was so out of kilter with reason, people got lost in their society. Now, right now, there is a custom in the South where we never use the word adoption. We use the word taken in. But child, no parents, no, family and mother, dad, father, somebody take him in. And I know this because I was one of the taken in children. Couldn't get along with my stepmother. My father didn't do much about it, although he tried. I was working, mowing lawns and cleaning dogs and washing cars and a cook at one of the houses I worked in. Said, if you ever without a home, you just come and live with me. Never forget, Miss Rosa Lee. So I was taken in. It was an honorable house. Then came the Depression. Had to be another kind of house that we don't mention in respectable company. But the ladies in the house, in their feeling toward me, in their feeling toward themselves and their hope for themselves, they had not given up. Although they had to violate their humanity to stay on the earth, they had not given up. That they would, from their own earnings, would buy me a set of encyclopedias. People in the neighborhood would come to me to get the lessons, me to look up things. I was always reading almanacs. When the white folks throw away the almanacs, I would pick up the almanacs and memorize things. So all my information was a year old, but people didn't know that. So the gamblers take me around. I bet you this boy can name me all the many ships in the Japanese Navy. And another little boy would open, and I could do it. They'd win their bets. I'm going all over town. Now, they're exploiting the hell out of me. I didn't think about this till 20 years later. But I'm loved and respected for my fine memory, which I can name all the capitals in the United States starting back. I began to train my mind by packing my mind with insignificant information. I can name the second name of the first wife of Clark Gable. Now, what the hell does that mean to a little kid in this house? Now, what I'm trying to get to, that we came out of a structure where the mind was respected because I could read, teach Sunday school before I was 10. I was a little celebrity in the community. Now, what I'm telling you, what happened to me, I'm telling you what you still fail to do for young people. I would thread the needles for old ladies, run little errands, and sometime when I'm passing, they cook some gingerbread. You know, when you're a kid, some hot gingerbread or two nice buttered biscuits. They just hand it to you. And after the evenings of going around and displaying my knowledge, and the gamblers the one $20 or $30 on me, they would take me to Miss Ada's restaurant. To Miss Ada, feed this boy. So what did I get? The house special. Beef stew and rice and beef stew gravy, 10 cents. Because Miss Ada loved me and respected me, she was sneaking a little beef, and after a while she would bring me some cornbread. What I'm talking about is that we had a common humanity and a community-ness before we encountered people that we wanted to imitate because we thought their toys were better than ours. Their language was better than ours. They began to destroy our sense of community-ness. And this is why I would think it is vile and vulgar to compare a Malcolm X with what is happening now. Because there is no relationship to the great integrity of Malcolm X than what is happening now. I have seen and witnessed Malcolm X turn down more money than was collected at the Million Man March. Turn it down and walk away from it because he had enough integrity to do so. We need men of integrity now. We need people with enough nerve to refuse something. We need leaders who don't need Mercedes-Benz and stretch limousines. For the price of one stretch limousine, if you contributed to a black student, he could go through medical school. We have not asked, leader, where are you leading me? Where are you leading me? We have followed after people without checking them out. This is why I think you need to read this article in a paper called The Liberator, published here in Brooklyn. The article by...
So I was looking up The Liberator, man, and let me just give you a quick backdrop on that. I couldn't find that particular article because I got a number of articles spanning through some period of years, but this says The Liberator, 1831 through 1865, was the most widely circulated anti-slavery newspaper during the antebellum period and through the Civil War. It was published and edited in Boston by William Lloyd Garrison, a leading white abolitionist and founder of the influential American Anti-Slavery Society. Over the 3 decades of its publication, The Liberator denounced all people and acts that would prolong slavery, including the United States Constitution. Garrison condemned the Constitution was an incredibly controversial and eventually led to a split with Frederick Douglass, once referred to as the most aggressive and outspoken abolitionist the world ever the world over. Garrison was decades ahead of most of other northern white abolitionists in demanding the immediate emancipation of all people held in bondage and the restoration of the natural rights of enslaved persons. Garrison's nature attracted him followers, loving called Garrisons, but also many more detractors throughout his tenure as editor of the Liberator. His vitriolic criticism of all people and institutions he saw as responsibility for slavery gained him many threats and attempts against his life, including a 5,000, now valued at over 150,000 bounty on his head in Georgia. And there's more information on that. But I just want to give you a backdrop on that.
Pleasant, because it contains the best analysis of what is happening that I have seen so far. Now, back to the concept of the community, because people take from their basic community a community frame of mind that goes into the making of that collective container called nation. When an Italian is in Australia, Africa, 1,000 miles away from home, when you call his name and he answers in the name of a nation he took from home. Then, who deprived you of your nation concept and your nation name? Why are you so misguided that you would think that one of the great shows of the 20th century would occur and there would be speaker after speaker, 40 speakers, not one uttered the name of your nation. Your nation in the world is called Africa. When you understand that people function from the basis of a nation and they go back to that nation to renew their spirit, their hopes, and to call a meeting of over 1 million people and nobody mentions the name of Africa. And I said, if you call a meeting with 2 or more black people anytime in the world and don't mention Africa, you are out of order.
I really like that part, man. I like a lot of parts, but I like that a lot.
To that nation.
Hey, he always. I'm telling you. Hey, he passed. Hey, the teacher. He passionate, man.
Yeah. He opened his eyes on that one.
Yeah.
Spirit, their hopes, and to call a meeting of over 1 million people and nobody mentions the name of Africa. And I said, if you call a meeting with 2 or more black people anytime in the world and don't mention Africa, you are out of order. There's a book called The Tribes, dealing with the rising power in the world, the rise of the overseas Chinese and the rise of the Chinese at home, the rise of the Japanese, the rise of the Jews. Nobody mentions Africa because all of them assume that somebody else, European or Asian, will continue to rule Africa. That is because you do not have a single African head of state with the sense of nation. He has a European mind and an African body, but no African destiny.
Oh.
He is a slave because he could be the head of a nation with no African values. Why is it that Africa needed no civil courts, no Western trained lawyers until the European came and created a need for them? Because the elder in the family was the head of your Supreme Court. In my family, my great-grandmother Mary was it. And when she started talking, everybody stopped. And she would tell the same story over and over again. Story about her husband who was sold into slavery to a slave breeding farm in Virginia, and how brave he was, and white people had to get rid of him because they wouldn't dare kill him. And the story of her slave men in Georgia, and her watching Sherman move to the sea, burning down Atlanta. And we would say, Grandma, you know you didn't see Sherman. I did see it. I saw his eyes, meanest man I ever see. Eyes, Reginald Coons. And we would dispute her one more time, and she would took a car pipe out of her mouth, tap her cane on the floor. So I see it. These old eyes see it. All right, Grandma. The court has met. You announced your decision. There is no reprieve. You saw Sherman march to the sea. And yet she was teaching us lessons of survival, teaching us her memory of Africa, her memory of the last Africans to come over before the fakery of emancipation, teaching us truth, teaching us wisdom, teaching us survival. Into ourselves, we were a miniature nation. And when something happened within that nation, all of us came to the assistance of the person. And the one thing we wanted most, to keep the trouble away from the white folks who don't understand our problem, don't understand our history. Today, I heard Malcolm X's message to the grassroots again, and most people have heard it, but not understood it. But what he was calling for is to understand the land basis of nation. And so many of us have let our parents lose thousands of acres of land in the South. We once owned almost 20 or 30 million acres, and today we own less than 3 million acres. We own the...
Gerald. Hey, so is that, he mentioned the Malcolm X's message to the grassroots. Is that what it's called? Or is he talking about to just the grassroots people, you know,
that's one of his most powerful speeches, message to the grassroots.
Okay, bet. Okay.
The land from which the bread must come. And within ourselves, we are a miniature nation and a Black community. I am not an endorser of Jim Crow. I wanted to get rid of it as bad as anyone else. But what I'm saying that once you get rid of that, you didn't have to get rid of your value. You didn't have to get rid of the Black corner stores. You didn't have to get rid of the Black church. You didn't have to get rid of the Black lodge. You didn't have to get rid of the numerous small but clean as a laundry Black hotels in the Black community. You didn't have to get rid of the sisters who can lay a dish before you to make other people apologize for thinking they can go. Because in the civil rights movement, we reached for the wrong thing. We thought the thing to be is to be like them. When we had a higher standard of morality than them. Why be like them? Why not set an example and let them be like you? We wanted to be close to them. We wanted our children to sit next to them and soak up education through osmosis. And our children got cut to pieces. Many of our children could run rings around them educationally. Then why did they go to these white students, got dumbed up and confused? We should have given our children strength and confidence when they went to the school. Don't tell me math is hard. We invented it. Well, hell, the pyramids is there. You can't deny they're there. There's no bonding agent. I mean, things were built without cement. 6,000 years ago, they're still standing there. They had a paint that's color fast, hadn't been retouched in 3,000 years. Right now, you paint a house in 10 years, you got to paint it again. And you can observe all of this without understanding the nature of the war on our community and our community frame of mind. The European came out of a scattered community. It was no community. And he claimed the creation of Rome and Greece. I can do more in proving to you that Rome and Greece was not Europe than anybody else can prove that Egypt was not Africa. Rome and Greece was not Europe. Two Mediterranean-inspired nations. Because when they rose, there was no Europe. That's hard on your imagination. What created Europe? The challenge of Rome and Greece. Fighting Rome and Greece, they got themselves together to fight it or try to destroy it. Getting themselves together to fight this challenge made them a nation. They began to have facsimile nations, and they weren't even clear on the nation concept in Europe until near the end of the 18th and the 19th century. And you actually go, here's the people who came into the world civilized. Europe was born when the ancient world was ending at the beginning of the modern world. There was no Europe in ancient times. You don't know how to dispute him or turn back all these fakers, these woman book called Leskowitzka, not out of Africa. If not, look, a cat will protect its kitten. A snake will bite you if you jump near its young. And we can't protect those things that sustain us as a people as we walk the earth. We can't claim anything that we did. And one of the main reasons we are delinquent in making a claim, we do not understand the concept that someone else projected to the world called civilization. Civilization is mechanization. To organize thuggery is not to civilize a people. Now, when we look at the history of the intelligence of Europe and its war on our community, we can trace European intelligence from the discovery of a book called The Odyssey and the Iliad, written by someone named Homer, who we don't even know whether he's man or woman. To this day, they began with a lot of mythology about Africa. Complementary mythology but strange and confusing. The African was 10 feet tall with one eye in the middle. It's a complimentary but misleading mythology. It began with the Greeks. Anytime they want to get people off their back, they said, no, I'm going to call on my friends, the Ethiopians, leave me alone. Why did they turn to Africa as a symbol of strength when they were just beginning to discover intelligence? Now let's look at 850 BC. Egypt had already had 10,000 years walking the sun and was tired. 100 years later, Egypt's relatives from the south would move up, cast up Yankee Haka, starting in 751 BC. These relatives from the south, from the 25th dynasty, would show the people in the country that the Greeks called Egypt how to rule a nation one more time. Don't count any dynasties after the 25th. Because all the other dynasties was mixed breed, mulatto-side, foreignized, and confused. Ending with Cleopatra. Where was Europe learning to crawl? But the first thing when he beheld your community was to declare war on your community, your own frame of mind. I have over the years delivered a lecture called Africa 3,000 Years Under Siege, many times, but not always the same way. For 2,000 years, our enemies came from Western Asia. Before the European came, the last invader from Western Asia after the Assyrians, now called Syrians, was from Iran. They were so brutal that the Africans cried out, oh God, if you cannot send me a liberator, send me a conqueror who will show me some mercy. This invasion from Iran set up Africa for the invasion of Alexander the Great. Now, this is 332 BC. Hear me well. Nothing in Africa had any European influence before 332 BC. If you got 10,000 years behind you before you even saw a European, then who gave you the idea that he moved from the Ice Age, came all the way into Africa and built a great civilization and disappeared when he had not built a shoe for himself or a house with windows? Why are people so good to us before they're good to themselves? Now, if you want to do some good homework on this, and want to understand the nature of a fakery called civilization, remember, civilization like Broadway shows have to have a rehearsal stage. Now, if Europe came and built the pyramids and all those temples, then you got to find the ruins of a rehearsal stage in Europe, because you would rehearse on how to do it before you finalize it. Just like they take a show and put it on out of town to see if it's good enough for Broadway. If it's not good enough for Broadway, they close it out of town. Broadway's so expensive, you can't even afford it unless you can draw an audience. Now, if you take African history, go to the South, And you will find experimental pyramids, 42 experimental pyramids. You will find the same social thought in the South as in the North. You will understand that the Nile River, it stretches 4,000 miles into the physical body of Africa. And the main population that people Egypt came from the South, from the rehearsal stage in the South. Now, after the rehearsal, they had a general idea how to build a great structured nation. Then they developed a great agriculture so they could feed a lot of people. Housing complex, a great spirituality that contained a lot of people. And so the greatness of Africa does not belong to Egypt alone. It belonged to a collection of people who came down that great culture highway called the Nile to build Egypt. And the first thing they built was a structured families, a community nest. And when communities couldn't get along, they began to sell the difference between community and the community to make a larger community called a city. Then they consolidate the cities into something called a state. And when great territories came together, it was equivalent to an empire. All of this opened the way for the first dynasty, and the second dynasty, and the third dynasty, with the great commoner, Imhotep, father of medicine, father of philosophy, builder of the step pyramid, father of great architecture, a multi-genius. Now, look at this multi-genius and look at his ancestor. Look at Paul Rose, great singer, lawyer, all-American athlete, language. Now look at it. Now you can understand Paul Robeson and Imhotep, relatives. Do you know anybody else that produces geniuses of this magnitude with consistency going back thousands of years? Then why must you leave these great values to be whores after the values of a valueless people? The sense of community and the sense of nation is what we have lost, in the sense of what Malcolm X was trying to teach us, especially in his message to the grassroots. That land is the basis of nation. Edmund Blyden, in the end of the 19th century, his inaugural address at Liberia College, he said, we will have to work for many years to come without the popular support we have to have. We strive to be those things most unlike ourselves. We feed grist into other people's mills. Nothing comes out except what has been put in. That then is our great sorrow. We're knocking at the door of someone else's house and we're neglecting our own house. Now, where do we go from here system-wide? I maintain that there is no African solution short of a Pan-African solution. That there is no capitalist solution unless you are in charge of the capital. There is no socialist solution unless you are in charge of the social. That there is no solution that can be imposed to you. But you must work out a solution based on your value. There are certain things we may not need, But had we in the United States understood that with the rise of the civil rights movement, the Montgomery bus boycott, we could have put those best values together, rescued the predominantly Black colleges, especially those teaching forms of technology, understood not only Booker T. Washington, understood that there was no fight between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. There was a difference of opinion on educational methodology, but they were all walking in the same direction. It was not then or now Booker T. Washington or Du Bois. It's now it is Booker T. Washington and Du Bois. Take each one for what he had to offer and do not start a fight between one and the other. Marcus Garvey was attracted to the United States because of the Booker T. Washington program. He wanted to build a school of that nature in Tuskegee. So there's a link between all of our striving. But if the Black American was in better position than any Africans in the whole of the African world, it is not because he is wiser or stronger than the rest. Once we get this through our skulls and stop competing to among ourselves, like my slave master better than your slave master, if you're against slave masters, then they're no better. If you're against evil, you do not choose the lesser between two evils. Anytime you choose the lesser between two evils, you don't compromise with evil. Yes, now, why did I say that the circumstances of oppression in America has given the Black American certain advantages that could be used to rescue the African world? Because of the nature of the work we had to do, the attitude of our oppressor leaving us with no illusion that we were a part of him, the things we had to learn in order to stay on the earth, we were in a position to rescue Africa. We were the only African people on the earth where Africa get a modern, scientifically trained army. But we had been trained in the basic military techniques essential to the maintenance of a nation, land, air, and sea. We weren't trained to do this for Africa's sake. We were trained to do this for our oppressor's sake. Our oppressor needed us on those ships, at those guns, drilling and fighting his designated enemy. So we gained that skill that we did not transfer to Africa. If we had transferred that skill to Africa, there'd been no coups and counter-coups wrecking African nations by a bunch of thugs caught in arms. We will know that the army is separate and distinct from the state. Armies cannot run in a state. Now, if you understand what those thugs have done in Nigeria to destroy what could have been Africa's greatest nation, you would know what I'm talking about. Because they had enough lawyers, they had enough technically trained people, but they did not have a sense of a coordinated community. Nigeria's effectiveness was destroyed by religious fascism and religious thugs. People who don't understand spirituality and choose an artificial form called religion, all man-made, male chauvinist murder cults. You do not have to engage once you understand that, understand the nature of our society in Africa, where the woman had a designated place, while sometimes different from the man, sometimes the same. It was always equal in importance. Now you got to imitate someone whose wife had to fight him for a crust of bread in a cave. You want to be like them. Well, your greatest hope is to be like yourself. Your greatest hope was to look into what kind of society you could do, what kind of spirituality. How is it that you can build entire society without one trained judge, because grandpa is the judge, the elders are the judge? Why can you build a society with no woman beating, no child deserting, no teenage pregnancy? How can you build that whole society? Because you've got a built-in morality in the community that lets you know what is permissible and what is not permissible. Before the event of civil law, what we produce is not what you should do. We produce taboo, what you should not do. And once you were clear on what you should not do, you knew what you had to do. You will not.
Like your mic muted, huh? At least I couldn't hear.
Say that again.
I wasn't able to hear. It seemed like it had muted or something.
Did it? Okay, I'll back up some. How far, Gerald?
Just for a little bit.
About 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
Oh, no, maybe like a minute or so.
Okay. Let me know if you can hear it after this.
Understand that. Understand
Yeah, I
that.
can hear.
Okay. Let me know if you can't hear it again too.
All right.
All right.
Our society in Africa, where the woman had a designated place, while sometimes different from the man, sometimes the same, it was always equal in importance. Now you got to imitate someone whose wife had to fight him for a crust of bread in a cave. You want to be like them. Well, your greatest hope is to be like yourself. Your greatest hope was to look into what kind of society you could do, what kind of spirituality. How is it that you can build entire society without one trained judge, because grandpa is the judge? The elders are the judge. Why can you build a society with no woman beating, no child deserting, no teenage pregnancy? How can you build that whole society? Because you've got a built-in morality in the community that lets you know what is permissible and what is not permissible. Before the event of civil law, what we produce is not what you should do. We produce taboo, what you should not do. And once you were clear on what you should not do, you knew what you had to do. You will not desert your family. You will not strike a woman. and you will consult both sides of the family if you had a difference of opinion with your wife. And when you married her, you did not marry just a single human being. You married into a family. And if you dare to lose your sanity and think you're going to raise your hand against her, remember, she's got 100 cousins, 50 uncles. And you got the same thing on your side. Because if you strike her, you have disgraced your family. And your family gonna get on you too. So your hand is not gonna get up before you take it down. So, oh my God, what have I done? So we had no domestic court, because the domestic court was the family itself. The help came from the family itself. The sense of arbitration came from within that family. Now, why people succeed where you fail is that even when they move from that historical place of origin, they take the concept of the family with them. A Chinese would look at another Chinese he never met in his life, but if he's in trouble, he's gonna come to his assistance. You're gonna walk away. You see too many brothers in trouble, too many sisters in trouble, you walk away. We have to understand that the wall between the black man and the black woman is not of their creation. They didn't know they had a wall until white sociologists told them they had a wall. Then they began to react to a wall of somebody else's making. Now, this is why I take offense to the concept that black men must march 1 million in atone. What am I atoning for? I know a whole lot of black men, not deliberate, but I know a whole lot that's doing the best they can under circumstances created by their oppressors, and who needs some assistance, at least a pat on the back and say, you've done well. In the South, many black men work 2 or 3 jobs to keep their women from working in kitchens of the enemy. Because he worked, she took undue liberties. And some people are strong enough to fight it off. My own sister said that I'm the last kitchen generation in this family. She trained all 4 of her children. First, she made sure they got through high school before they slowed down. And when they slowed down, we can have a family conference about which one we can afford to send to college. But you ain't gonna stop being educated until you at least finish high school. And wherever you work, it's not gonna be in somebody's kitchen or more in somebody's lawn. There's nothing wrong with working in people's kitchens. There's nothing wrong with mowing people's lawn. I've done all of it. But when you don't have to do it, you're trained to be something better. Why not be something better? This is a sense of community. It is a sense of family. It is a sense of hope. It is a sense of nation. We have to look into all the activity we are engaged in relationship to Africa, and some of it negative. I admire Reverend Sullivan, but what Reverend Sullivan is trying to impose on Africa is pan-capitalism and not pan-Africanism. I attended the 50th anniversary of the 5th Pan-African Congress met in Manchester, England, a few months ago. There were 2 or 3 rival meetings of black cop-outs, conservatives. They think Pan-Africanism is obsolete. Multiculturalism now, interracialism. Yeah, you're going out of business as a people. First and foremost, I claim myself and my kith and kin. I call that the essential selfishness of survival. Taking care of my kith and kin first and foremost. With this, you have to begin with a mirror and liking what you see. If that's not a friend staring back at you, you have no friend. Maybe thinking about Malcolm X is the time to say something that emphasizes his integrity and to ask you to please read some sincere work written about him. Most of the recent books on Malcolm X could have been left unwritten. There's some scattered things in it. In the new book on the Million Man March, read the mission call put together by an Arthur Faker, Malina Karenga, who no more invented Kwanzaa than he invented the air. He took it from a concept in Tanzania. All this is documented now. He went to jail for mutilating Black women. And that's documented. Go, you good lawyers and pretended lawyers, go look up the court record. It's all there. He's got only high yellow, almost white ones in his harem. And his number one is a Mexican with Afro wig. Why are you following this, Baker? Who not only have an ego problem, but a color problem too. Why don't you investigate and ask leaders, where are you leading me? I saw him in Africa. He is disrespectful of African people. In Egypt, he goes into the Holy of Holies, the sacred prayer room of the priest, with his shoes on. I'm going to tell somebody, this is the gospel. I saw this. He treated other African people with utter contempt. We got to the bus going to Memphis. He says, why are we going to Memphis? Nothing there. Just tell me how little he knew about Africa. Memphis was one of the world's first metropolis. It was the first city that had a traffic jam. They tore down most of Memphis to build the Gaza Strip and all those areas that before Cairo, which is a modern city, modern Western built city. The great temples of Egypt were not built in what we now know as Cairo, built on the outskirts. The pyramids, you never see a pyramid on level ground. It's on ground tilted because they had to get out of the way of the river. It was the African sense of communityness. Now, European interpretation said all this was built by slaves. Slaves are not that skillful. You can go right now to some of the temples in Egypt. And between the seams, you can't even put a playing card. It's so tight, there's no cement. And it's balanced, not fell down. Been up thousands of years. Now, a bunch of idiots of Europe who didn't even have a shoe when this was done, will say, we came and built this. And failing to understand that, they said, well, somebody came from the sky and built the pyramids from the top. with a straight face. Some of you don't dispute that. Now, there's a book called Not Out of Africa, endorsed by some of the black conservatives, written by an Irish woman married to a Jew, who find anti-Semitism all over the place. Have you ever seen anybody give you a clear definition of what is a Semite? You can't be white and a Semite too. You can't be European and a Semite too. Anti what? Have you ever seen anybody stand in front of a German and call him an anti-Semite? Then what do they call you? And get away with it. You might think this is off the subject, but it's on the subject because it's on the community. People have been able to destroy your community and yourself and your confidence with the tyranny of words. Words you did not create. You have to understand, you've done some interesting things with the English language, but it is not your mother tongue. You live in a Eurocentric intellectual universe. Even the name of the star came from them. How do you know it was called a star until they called it a star? They painted a picture in Europe in the 15th century using Michelangelo's relatives as the model. They told you this is the Christ. How do you know? Between the conference in Nicaea and the painting of that picture, there was no figure of Christ. Then suddenly someone paints a picture and you accept the picture. And if they take that picture down from your church, you leave the church. You don't resemble your father. You don't resemble your mother. Then how do you become your Christ? You won't deal with it. All people paint the deity to resemble themselves. I've seen six different pictures of Buddha, all with the Church of Blackness. Japan, Indonesia, and in China. Why are the Indonesians not arguing with each other over the picture of Buddha? Because they have exercised something you have not exercised, the right to paint the deity in your life to resemble you. My point is, if your spiritual community was imported and other people are in charge of your commercial community and you have neglected your cultural community, you are in essence a slave. If someone else mines your mineral, markets your gold, cuts your diamond, how dare you lie to me and tell me you are free? You are still a slave. But we could have done, after the Civil Rights Movement, the Caribbean Independence Movement, the African movement, we could have pulled the talent of the African world together, and Africa would now be a world power. We would have counted the Africans in Africa, nearly 1 billion right there. The Africans in Asia, the Africans in India. You put all of those people together, you've got 1.5 billion people. Now, if someone goes into bargain for their unity and their goodwill for $1 billion, that means that he is bargaining for less than $1 a piece, and we didn't tell him to sell us in the first place. Now, don't get angry, get smart. Think it out. Who authorized anybody to put us on an auction block for sale? Once you understand the nature, the imperial nature of all of the religions of the world, you can pick and choose any one of them, but convert them into what you need them to be. I am not arguing against religion, I'm arguing against concept. You took a concept created at the conference at Nicaea when they Europeanized it, and from then on used it as the handmade European conquest. I'm saying the Islamic faith is not one mite different, except in some cases it's more brutal. And I'm not saying leave it. I'm saying seize it, take it over, make it what it needs to be. To hell with the corrupted Arabs. You must distinguish between Arabism and Islam. You must study the life of Bilal and Zayd bin Harith, two Ethiopians who helped the man make the faith. You must study Ethiopia, who sheltered the members of that Spain. And when the trouble blew over, they went back and established it as a faith. You must understand why Bilal, the first of the Muslims, the first to call the faithful to prayer, this Ethiopian who was offered the job as the first caliph of Islam, why he refused it. These Arabs fighting among themselves over the religion, they're still fighting over it, and yet you let them guide you and enslave you. They're deeper in the slave trade than ever. And the documents are existing. And many of the people in the slave trade, especially the Sudan, are Black Africans in the North enslaving their brothers in the South. Well, the head of the state said recently, I am Arab first and African second. Wherever you are on the face of this earth, your world community is named Africa. You must pull that world community and take it, speaking a single voice, into the arena of world power. You must do this for yourself, for your children, and the still more beautiful ones waiting to be born. Thank you. Dr. John Henry Clark.
There it is. The mic ain't on, Jamie. There you go.
Y'all hear me now?
Yeah, your lights are on. Yep.
All right. Yeah, no, man. Man, it's always a treat, man. Dealing with the master teachers, man. Him and Dr. Finch. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I love it, man. We ain't got no friends, King. We ain't got no friends, right? Before the Europeans got here, he said, Western Asia was our enemy. He said
Right.
Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iran.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Now, so yeah, that's interesting right there.
Right. Yeah, caught
It's
you.
interesting. It's interesting right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He echoed it. Gary, you want to say something?
Well, that was a plethora of information. Oh my goodness. I took 2 pages of notes and I got to look at them, man. I was just like, wow. Yeah, that was a good presentation, both of the master teachers. Amazing. Thank you for
You want
putting
to
that
read,
all together.
do you want to read over some of your points you made, or you just want to check them yourself?
Yeah, I'll check them. I'll just check them. I gotta process some of it. I came out and talked to you for a second about the thugs in Ethiopia kind of stuff, and yeah, I'm good though. Love you
Okay.
guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
You good, Jamie?
Yeah. I just like I said, man. I mean, we don't have no friends. Ain't nobody ever did nothing to help Africa. um, you know, everything was geared to take or to damage Africa. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, ain't nothing you really can. Master teacher covered it all, man. Ain't nothing you can't go. That's like trying to go on stage after going, Kendrick Lamar go, or
Right.
going on
Right.
stage after Drake go, or you know what I mean, or one of them cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be a monster like them.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So yeah, no, man, you can't. Yeah, ain't nothing you can add to that. It is what it is.
He put it plain, didn't he?
It
He
is
put
what
it
it
plain.
is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna just go over a couple things.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
um, so I'm gonna look more into the Liberator, man. I heard that a few times when uh, Dr. John Henry Clark mentioned that in other videos and things I read. I like the concept of nations. Concept equals a concept of responsibility. Institutions do not change to suit uh, other infiltrating interests. And I like when he said sociology was created to fix the defects of their own uh, uh, insecurities, behaviors. And the collective container called nation. My nation is the world. My nation of the world is Africa, as well as the community. Um, and he mentioned, we got too many leaders that have an African body, or too many people that have an African body, a European mind, and no sense of Africanism.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's tough right there.
that's tough.
That's
Uh,
tough. Cause he right, 100%. That's
yeah,
it. That's today.
yeah, that's right now. That's right now. And I like going back to the old school videos and the old school writings and stuff like that, because it just reminds me of Sankofa and how important it is to go back and fetch, you know, uh, what's been taken away. And I looked at that word, that claim of taking away. And the big thing is, you can be who you want to be and all that kind of stuff. But as long as we just elude the fact that there's a decline put on by the oppressor, I think that there's a big void in effectiveness. So um, I got a few minute marks that I got to go over. And he talked about, he called the religion of male chauvinistic murder cults. I like that. And then, we so used to saying kissing cousins, and he mentioned kith kin. I thought that stood out to me. Kith kin. And I'm gonna look up those two people he mentioned, the Arabs that he mentioned, and that's at minute mark, hour and 23 minutes. So I just got to get into those. Gerald?
Oh, good information. Good presentation. Good to hear the doctor. And just in my mindset, try to put myself back in that time when he was talking about that, and still would have been over my head on the little things, you know, at that time, you know. His whole solution was Pan-Africanism. That was the solution, you know, Pan-Africanism. And I wasn't truly into Pan-Africanism on that level way back then when he was talking about it, if that makes sense. You know, I later formed my consciousness into that after listening to him more. But it was still more of just kind of putting all the history together at that time. I always remember how he would talk about that nation. That nation is a container. That's when he always gonna speak on that. That the nation is a container, and we lost how to control a nation. Once we got put in enslavement and wasn't allowed to do, we have to relearn how to hold the nation again, and that became the problem. So you get to a point where you want your independence, but if you don't know how to hold and run a nation, it's gonna be chaos. You know what I'm saying? So I heard him keep hitting up on that because he was talking about how it's a responsibility. As you kept saying, Jamie, about we got no friends. He says you gotta look into the mirror. That's where you gotta find your first friend, in the mirror. If you don't find your first friend in the mirror, then you've got nobody. The thing we were talking about, speaking about our first enemy, was from Asia. We was trying to establish anything that we had a problem with before 332 BC. It's not until because 332 BC claiming that's whites, that's Europeans. She establishing that. So whites can't claim nothing before that. So when we had enemies, it wasn't whites, it was Arabs.
So is that the same time around
That's Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great, Greek. That's his time.
So is that around after the 25th dynasty?
Yeah.
Right.
25th dynasty, according to him, that's when he would stop counting. He wouldn't count any other dynasty after the 25th dynasty. That would be around 750 BC. He would just say, Black Kemet is over at 750 BC. Most of us will still count all the way up until the Ptolemies, 332 BC. We won't count it after that. Right. They come in because we know that's clearly Greek. But for anybody who studied Kemet, you'll understand that one time that ain't us ruling on the last stages. Sometimes we'll claim it saying we lasted for a long period of time, but that really ain't us during them last periods. As Dr. Clark said, there was a bunch of mixed up shit going on at that time. So, but even when he's saying that, he's still saying whites cannot claim it until 332. So, anybody who was our enemy before that, whatever you want to call them, we had enemies before white people.
Oh yeah, you had the Assyrians, you had all kind of you had for sure, yes sir, you're right, yes sir. Right. Yeah, we had the Assyrians, we had a bunch of motherfuckers. I mean, excuse my language, but we had a bunch, we had a bunch of them coming in, man. But yeah, that's the
when he keeps saying we got no friends, he's trying to establish that. Don't just blame white people now. He said we got no friends. You know what I'm saying? Whoever these people want to claim to be. You want to be Hebrew? Well, whoever you want to be at that point, he's saying we got no friends. No matter. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm just saying, that that I think we had I think a lot of people, some people will take you to would take you to like what's that, the 31st dynasty. I think it was one more African conquest to go at part of Kemet, but they just couldn't hold on, man, and they lost it. But other than that, yeah, yeah, it's what the master teacher talking about. Yeah, that was Alexander the Great, the Greek at that point. You know what I'm
Well, let,
saying?
let me just let me just make it clear because I don't have my Kings list out. Um, you're saying the 32, 31 is after the 25th dynasty. Alexander the Great, and
Yeah,
after
that's after the 25th. Yeah, for sure.
right. And the Ptolemies started right at that time, right?
Ptolemies was right directly after Alexander the Great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I say that's his
I'm familiar
that's
with
his
that.
relatives. Him his
Yeah,
goddamn relatives.
yeah, I'm familiar with that. So yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, because that's the last Kushite era. That on the 25th. They was you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they again like Gerald said though, they have some mixed up shit going too.
Yeah, Piante and them come back up.
Yes, sir.
Well, something happened before them. They came out and kicked them out, and then they
Yeah.
actually moved their capital back across the river or something. They actually moved their capital back.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then you got Darius and them coming in,
Yeah.
some Indians or something. I don't. It was like I said, it's a bunch of different people
Yeah,
came
they
in.
came. Yeah, you're right though. You're right.
Persians, different people.
All kind of them came in because shit. I mean, shit. You know, shit. Kemet had it going on, man. Kemet had it
Yeah,
going on, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody wanted to live like that. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't living like that. So they you know what I'm saying, man? Look, you know what I mean? You had everything you wanted, man. You know, like come on, man. Yeah, everybody was after Kemet, man. Everybody wanted a piece of Kemet. Just like everybody want a piece of Africa right now. They've been wanting they've been dividing and fighting over Africa, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just shit is crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, man. Good presentation, King. I really, man, that's yeah, as always, man. Informative. Very informative. Uh Powerful, man. I like that one. I like that one, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I got a lot out of it too, man. Um, there was something I was gonna say, something that he distinguished. Damn, I forgot.
Go ahead, Gerald.
oh, no, I'm
Gerald.
good.
Oh, okay.
That was wrong speaking.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of what I was gonna bring up, a distinction he made, but I can't remember what it is. I didn't write that one down. But either way, man, that's a good video to go over, man. And I was watching Dr. Finch, man, and where he was talking about, some other stuff. I'll put that out there. And then I ran into this one, man, and I said, "Oh, snap. Check this out." And so, man, I'm glad you guys was present, man, and glad you got it. And I'm glad it pleases the court. All right. I really like how he expounded on the way that we grew up, respecting people, our elders, and that we held court in the house, you know. My mom was that person, right? My dad was that person, stepdad, and um, it was just a beautiful thing that just seems to be lost. I'm disconnected, from all that what's going on pretty much nowadays with the youngins and all that stuff. But it just doesn't seem to be the same, man. And I'm sure our elders felt the same thing about our generation, in a sense, so yeah.
It's
But you
one
know,
word
just like oh,
he
go
didn't
ahead.
use, but he kept talking about community and the way we lived and this, that, and other. And I know it was going on in y'all mind without him saying it. We know that concept is Mayat. Anybody who African centered
Right.
know it.
Yeah,
He
right.
never mentioned it one time, but
No.
anybody who African centered knowing that's what he's talking about, the Mayatic concept.
Right.
That's what socialization, how you live, how you treat each other. When he talked about the taboos, I have not, we understood that as the declarations of Mayat. That's how we That's how we deal with the African-centered philosophy, on how to live and to be loyal amongst each other. And that loyalty will allow you to build instead of destroy. So he kept saying, what the whole thing is, what he was trying to say is, look at their communities. They are about, they communities like to fight. That's what they're about. All right? So you don't understand that you got conquered and then went under somebody else's system, but you only got conquered and went under their system because you can't fight. You with me? Right. Because they can. But that don't mean that nothing was wrong with your society. That just means like a bully just come tear up your shit. Right. But then he trying to say we didn't have no jails, but in their society, let you mess up. They got a jail waiting for you to make money off and all that there. They got police to put you in. They got a whole capitalist system to make money off that. Counseling and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? They build prisons and it's a whole system of them not dealing with whatever. That state system, we didn't have no big prison system, as he said. All this thing about the court thing, they said they do that to father, so.
Let me just cut in real quick what he said. So what you're referring to is when he said sociology was created to fix the defects within their own community.
Right.
Right.
But
right.
When you put sociology and you call about defects, we go to jail for shit that we just do. They criminalize us. When they first started criminalize us for just hanging out, for loitering. Now, you know what I'm saying? Even with the marijuana and stuff, they say we smoke just as much as they smoke. But some kind of way we get picked, you know what I'm saying? It's this, we used to get pulled over by driving while black. That was not a damn joke. It was like we driving on the freeway just like them, but we're going to get pulled over 7 times more just by being black.
Right.
Never doing nothing different.
Right.
This is institutionalized shit that they would do to us. Yeah. Because we black, we guilty first. You know what I'm saying? So with their system, they used it against us and criminalized us because of the color of our skin. You know what I'm saying? Right. Simple as that. That's what most time we be fighting for, dealing with police brutality, murdering and killing our people because they got a badge and we the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm X automatically talked about that. If they can put that in the media that our black faces, us black men, it's something that's, predators and this, that, and other, then it's okay if we get beat. It's okay, if it's okay if we get shot. You know what I'm saying? When that movement first started about Black Lives Matter, all of them men was being shot without no gun. Every victim of Black Lives Matter, all them victims never had a gun. And we know we got some bad actors. We got some black men to shoot at the cops and all of that and other. But each one of them didn't have not one. They was hands up. They kept hearing about this hands up stuff. Or they thought it was a phone and all this type of thing. It came until they just was so out of hand that they put a knee on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 41 seconds in front of everybody. George Floyd just kneel on his goddamn man's neck.
Right.
Till he died. They just thought that was the shit. Everybody was gonna be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? But that it was just taking that far about criminalizing the black man. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the socialization, we understand going back to Mayat. Mayat was more of a, not to do this here. You're going to get up out the community. You know what I'm saying? People was willing to be amongst that, and it was tied spiritually, to who they were. You're a divine being, so after what what the fuck you doing? If you don't think you that, go somewhere else. Who are you acting like? what is that about?
Right.
Yeah, what's
I
going on?
remember hearing that too. My mom saying that.
Yeah. Come on. That ain't what we striving to be or what we trying to do around here. You know what I'm saying? So
I remember Carrie saying that.
well,
That's right. Lo was always getting pulled over. And then I would be with him and they'd pull us over. And I wanted to say to them, what'd you pull us over for? And Lo would tell me, don't say anything. And afterwards I'd say, well, why did he pull us over? And he said, because they can. And that was the hardest thing for me to understand. Or to I wasn't okay with it, but what do you do? That was my point is, my gosh, what do you do to change that? That's not right. Anyway, yeah, that was a crazy stuff. But listen, I'm gonna get off. I got about 22 messages to answer for Mother's Day and all that. But I love you guys and thanks for all the work you guys do. I
again,
learn
happy
a lot.
Mother's Day and appreciate
Thank
your
you.
sacrifice on this day.
For sure, Queen, and happy Mother's Day again. And for sure.
Hey, we got pulled over one time, man. Me and my boy Carrie and Ryan, and we got pulled over at like about 9, 10 police cars, let alone doubled up in there. Guns pulled on us, rifles pulled on us, and they went in the store and asked Carrie if we kidnapped them. All right, shit like that, man. On the red. All right, so. All right, peace, Carrie.
Okay, love you guys. Thank you.
Peace. Hey man, yeah, it's just crazy, man. I mean, I done had some run-ins with him too. You know, I mean, I know every time I got stopped in Michigan, I mean, hey man, they
Yeah.
man, they was coming like I was the mafia or something every time, man. And then, what I mean? I mean, like that's just getting pulled over. And they find out who I am, man. They be like, oh yeah, yeah, you got any? The motherfucker say, do you got any uh guns, knives, or bombs? Nigga asked me if I got bombs, man. Nigga asked me if I had any bombs, man. I'm like, just yeah, bombs, guns, or grenades, or some shit he asked me, man. I was like, what in the fuck? I'm like, man, I said, I just gotta get the fuck out of here, man. That's all, man. It's just time to go, man. I can't stay here no more, man. You know what I'm saying? You motherfuckers is way too much. I done fucked up my name. You know what I'm saying? I know what I did. You know what I'm saying? But I'm out the you know what I'm saying? I'm out the goddamn feds. So I'm trying to start something new here. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to start something brand new, man. I'm not on none of that shit. I done quit. Mr. White Man, I promise I ain't gonna do it no more. I'll be a good nigga. I ain't I swear I ain't doing it no more, right? I'm not doing nothing. I'm not even jaywalking. I'm not doing nothing. I wouldn't sell a bottle cap, right? I'm not doing nothing, right? And sure enough, man, every time I got pulled over, man, or something like that, man, they had like I was like a fucking terrorist. I mean, every time, man, like they gotta have all this backup, all this shit, and I ain't even known for fucking around with the police. Fighting or nothing like that. I fought the police one time, and that was the last time during this goddamn the Fed case that I had caught. Anyway, we on live. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Hey, but anyway,
That shit get that
yeah,
shit that shit turn a motherfucker up, man.
yeah, man. I tell you though, man, I done had some time with them people, man. And it's just time. It was just time to go, man. And I rolled out. I heard them got away from over there, man. I got away from Michigan so quick, man. And like I said, I don't even plan. I didn't never plan to even go back to visit. I just didn't, man. I don't even want to go back to visit, man, because soon as if yeah, no, they find out I'm in the car. You know what I'm saying? It's like I got something on some kind of something next to my name or something, man. That you know what I'm saying? Something is connected to my name
Yeah, you
where these
connected
people,
to it.
huh?
you connected to. You said in the beginning, you know, I don't fuck my name up.
Yeah, I fucked it up, man. I did. I fucked it up, man. I did. I
Right.
did that, man. I bad. I did, man. And that's one of the reasons why I just don't want to go back, man. And I ain't running from nobody. I that's that, you know, nothing like that. It's just you know, I just rather not deal with that type of stuff no more. I gotta, you know, I done built I had, you know,
You done built a good life, man.
yeah, well, yeah, you know, I left a little, you know, I was confused, man. Confused, crazy as I don't know what, man, didn't care. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, like, nah, man, you know, and I did a lot of crazy shit, man.
Right.
I'm
And
about to
Right.
so,
get up out of here, fellas.
yeah,
Yeah, no
yeah, I
doubt. I'm
gotta go
glad you
too,
brought
man.
up my aunt though, man. Because I honestly didn't think about that. I was so enthralled with just listening to Dr. Clark's message and stuff. But I'm glad you brought that up because you know, it's easy to see. It's easy to see that, you know, that's the points he is making. And he even made because he made reference to it. You know, you just paraphrasing. You know, you was told what was right, the morals and the way the layout of the land, and you know, you're pretty much going to abide by that. Now, he was talking about way back then, where my generation coming up, you know, we got a little bit loose, you know, um, later on, you know, with like me at 18, man, I decided, nothing against my parents, you know, like that. I was still respectful to all that, but everybody else, man, you know, you're gonna catch the fuck up, right? Because I'm not bowing down, and that was just a switch, man, that invited a whole bunch of other shit too. So, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get up.
Hey, good, yeah, good show, man. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
As always, you bring the heat. Hey, so uh,
somebody got next week.
yeah,
I'll do it next week if it's my time. I don't know who time it is, but
all right, that'll work for me. All right,
Look at Jamie.
that'll work for me.
Look at Jamie. Hey, Jamie had a storm that he had to fix it. He had to repair some shit. I said, I didn't even know it at the time. I said, I got something for next week, man, for this weekend. You know, so
Yeah, I had a big leak at the apartment, man, and it ended up leaking into my, you know, into our apartment,
okay.
and it was just a lot of water, man. So just had to get that stuff up, man.
let's get Gerald up out of here, man.
Yeah, for
Peace
sure,
with
man. Hey,
God,
listen,
man.
man, y'all be easy. Hey, thanks, family, for joining. We out of here, man. Don't forget about the first Sunday of every month, children's book read. Like, subscribe, share. Give us a couple of comments. Let us know what you think. And what y'all think, man? Y'all go ahead and tell them, you know.
Yeah, man, that's it, man. That's it right there, man.
Already, Black Power, Black Love. I'm out, fam.
All
Yeah,
right,
no
family.
doubt,
Be
no
easy,
doubt.
man. Be easy. All
Give
right,
Auntie
man.
love, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Already.
Yeah.
Will do.
Hey,
Right.
and so family, if you good, huh?